Top of the morning to you. Jim Holley here with you on this Saturday morning. If it is a Saturday morning, of course, it is Hello Detroit. And once again, we say good morning to you and thank God for you. It is the 8th day of June. That's right, the 8th day of June already. 6 months into the year. At least we started it 6 months into the year, but again, it's the 8th day of June. The year's still the same, 2019. Once again, we thank God for you. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Once again, we say good morning to you, and we thank God for each and every one of you. Just want to let you know that I'm very grateful for those who basically substituted for me on last Saturday. We'll tell you a little bit more where we were for the last about another 10 days or so in Africa, Nigeria, and why we were there, and the success that we had while we were there in terms of trying to bring resources here in the north end of the city of Detroit. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in the program, but we have a wonderful program for you this morning. We have a spotlight on one of our community development and one of our community interest groups, and we'll let you know indeed all about that. And then also want to talk about the possibilities of you supporting the former mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, coming out of jail and certainly or at least having his sentence sort of reduced, and a letter that he wrote to the president, and what your thoughts are about that. And then also we want to basically also give you information about what's happening in Benton Harbor, the school system in Benton Harbor, and how I think that we perhaps can help or should help, or at least try to get some support of the school system in Benton Harbor. So it's a lot to talk about. That's right, a lot to talk about. But right now, I just want you to know that indeed we're grateful to you. Down through the years, you've been there for us. And want you to know that we basically have internet, and then also we're on channel 20 right now. And so we're having this relationship, as we've trying to tell you for maybe the last 3 weeks. We think we've worked it out, and hopefully if you want to see us, you can go to channel 20. Comcast 20, and then also you have the internet, and we'll give you how you can get us on the internet, and call somebody, let them know if you have Comcast, then you can get us on channel 20. If you don't have Comcast, you can also get us on the regular television, channel 33, and also you can get us on the internet. And of course, we're talking about really www, and you're talking about WHPRTV.com, and that's the way you can get us. And certainly you're welcome to give us a call. We'll give you the numbers that you could call, whether you're listening to Comcast or whether you're on the internet. We're trying to make sure that indeed that we can work together with Comcast and with our WHPR. And so again, just want you to know the telephone numbers are 868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336. Those are the numbers. Let me just go over maybe a little slower this time. 868-0342, 868-0351, 868-4336. Those are the numbers that you can call us and talk to us this morning. Once again, we always want to let you know how grateful we are. People don't have to be nice, and when they are, at least you can do is say thank you. And certainly we want to just let you know how grateful we are that you've been supportive, regardless of whether we on the internet or whether we're on TV or whatever the situation may be. And I know at WHPR and some WHPS, all that the Watkins family and the Tyler family, all they try to do to try to make sure they're keeping up with the times, with social media and everything else. And we'll want you know that you've been there for us. And we always want to make sure that we don't take your kindness for granted. We always want to make sure that we don't take your kindness for granted. So again, we say all of that to just let you know how grateful we are here on this Saturday morning. Going to be a beautiful day today. We're expecting a good day today. No rain in the forecast. Tomorrow is going to be very good, but somehow at the end of Sunday, it's probably have some rain running into Monday. The high today is going to be about 81 degrees. That's right, 81 right now, but at 65, 67 degrees. Depends whether you're at Metro or you're in downtown Detroit. And then tomorrow on Sunday, as I said, there's going to be some rain on the latter part of the day. 78 degrees for the high on Sunday, and then on Monday we're talking about 76 degrees on Monday. So we'll be in the 70s. We got a good day yesterday. I mean, we were in the 80s yesterday, and today we hit 80s, but mainly for the last maybe 4 or 5 days we'll be in the mid 70s, and we're just waiting for the summer to be consistent. That's all. I know how you feel, but nevertheless, we just want you to know we're thankful for this. And so I just want to make sure that indeed that you're very knowledgeable in terms of what we're doing here at WHPR, and also how we're basically working with channel Comcast 20. As you know, we started our own television network, which is Comcast 20, called the Church TV network, and on channel 20 of Comcast, and so we're basically want you to know to be supportive of that. We have right now about 12 hours a day, 12 noon till 12 midnight, 7 days a week. And then in July, somewhere in the middle of July, nearly to the 1st of August, we'll be 24 hours, but we'll be moving to 76. They are basically building a channel for us, Comcast is, and so we are looking forward to that, and called the Church Network. But right now, again, we are talking about WHBR. And the way they're doing is basically going internet and social media, and as I'm told by Mr. Watkins, R.J. Watkins, and that's the way the trend is now. That's where basically entertainment is now, whether it's secular or sacred. That's where the industry is really going, and that's where they're trying to do is keep up with that industry. And of course, as I said before, and often tell you that for the most part, I'm still 8-track mentality. So I just, my granddaughter kind of keeps me basically on track with all of this. When I want to change my phone or delete or add, I have to give it to her to get it cleaned up and all that kind of stuff. But nevertheless, I'm sure I'm not the only one. But I'm just letting you know that's where I am in terms of my own intelligence, the lack of it, should I say. And so saying all of that, we just want to know that we are working our way to about 14 minutes after the hour. And again, we have a special guest in a couple of minutes, and to talk about what's going on in terms of the city of Detroit, and talking about basically the leadership or the lack of thereof here in the city of Detroit. As you know, we've been talking for a number of months about community agreements and how effective they are, and how and perhaps how you may feel effective or non-effective they are. But in terms of what's going on with Chrysler, Fiat on the east side, and other kind of developments going on throughout the city of Detroit, of course, the community should have some input. And for the most part, if they don't, you're going to be cut out. As we always try to tell you, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And always remember that. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Somebody, if you're not there to negotiate and try to make sure that indeed you're going to be selected, that you can also understand that if you're not there, that you may not be included in the process. So I want to talk a little bit about that as well. And then I want to make sure we let you know what's happening in Benton Harbor, and with the education system there. They're about $18 million in debt. The school system there, the governor has offered to waive or to cancel the debt if they decided to abandon their high school and basically have the high school students to be dispersed through various other districts in the area. and it seems like the board is rejecting that and rejecting the proposal of the governor, and so they're at a standstill right now, and we're trying to see what's happening and whatever we can do from Detroit, because we've been through this, but the question, of course, is it's very expensive to run a high school, very expensive, especially if you want to add a lot of other things to high school in the quality of education. Right now, all 46 of their teachers in the high school are substitute teachers. They're not certified teachers. They're substitute teachers. All 46 of the teachers in the high school in Benton Harbor are substitute teachers. And of course, it seems like the parents want to make sure that their children have quality education and have no problems perhaps having their kids sent to other schools, but the board and leadership seems to be different. But always remember, my sister, brother, what not bothers me, but amazes me that the people that on the board send their children to other schools, but don't want the people that they're representing in the city to have the same privileges they have. It always amazes me how we basically are so hypocritical, and I think that's probably what the chief is going to be talking about in terms of leadership. We basically preach one thing and practice something else, and so we'll talk about that. And then, of course, I want you to know that we did go to Nigeria, Africa, and had a wonderful time there for the 5 days that I was there, and met some leadership and met investors and how they can basically invest in the city of Detroit. And because we've got a lot of things we want to do, but just don't have the means to do it. And of course, it's sad when you got to go out of your country to find help, financial help, and you know that it's right here. You got the people that are here. They got what you need. They just don't want to give you opportunity to secure it. And so we got a lot of things we want to talk about here this morning. Caller, you've been kind. How are you this morning?
Well, I'm fine, Reverend Holley.
Good.
Happy Saturday to you.
Good. Thank you for calling, Theo.
You're welcome. I wanted to let you know that today, the research is going to be lifting up our men. You know, we've had these reports over and over again on TV about the I guess they say possible serial murderer and rapist, and the police department is supposed to be working diligently to stop that, and they have a person in mind that they have picked up at the bus stop.
Yeah, person.
Anyway, it seems to me that the media spends so much time bashing the men in our community that the good men who are actually out there patrolling the streets in a group and going door to door and trying to help solve this problem are not being appreciated at all. Now, you know that this month is the month in which we have Father's Day, and her research meets on the second Saturday of each month. So today, being the second Saturday, we are going to celebrate our fathers and lift up the men who are doing good in our community and encourage them to continue and encourage others to join them. And we're going to be at the Dabo Center on Grand River in Wyoming from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. We're going to have refreshments and prizes and surprises, and we're going to have the ombudsman to come today to share with us, because we can't forget that we do have good men who are doing good things, and we want them to know that we appreciate that. And it's not the only group or persons who believe and understand that, but the media reaches people 24/7, and they just spend so much time beating down the community.
But let me ask you this: Why are you saying that you feel like the men are not being appreciated for the work that they're doing, trying to apprehend the person that's committing these crimes.
No, I'm not saying that the police or other people in the community are not trying.
Okay.
But I'm saying the media is always giving you a different picture of what's going on.
I see. Okay, I got you.
So what we want to do is let the men in our community know that we are aware they're doing good things. We are aware that they're patrolling the neighborhood. We are aware that they're going door to door in these vacant places.
Yeah.
And you know what? The demolition issue, there seems to be developers who want to take a large area and put up homes or business or whatever, but there's no group that is trying to eliminate that one house or that one building that's in the path of our young children going to school.
Yeah. One of the, I know I was with the chief on Thursday, and we were talking about two things. One, and that was that his appreciation for the men who and also women who basically are all over the community, especially on the area that was where the crimes were committed, and taking looking at every house. And then the other thing was that I met with some of the officials from the mayor's office. They're boarding up and making sure some of these houses are boarded up in that area that's been designated where the crimes have really been committed, and then also that there is a trying to decide what houses can be torn down and demolished, and those that can basically be boarded up and really to be rehab. And so I just know that again. And sometimes, you know, I hear you loud and clear, and that's the reason why I thank God for people like WHPR, where you can come on and let people know that how appreciative and the people are turning out and organized to where they basically are trying to, and most likely the person that's of interest that they've already have in custody may be a reason why the communities turn out like they have.
Now, Reverend Holley, as you have been meeting, is there any concern about the banks who have taken over property, not boarding them up properly, not maintaining them as they should?
You know, all I can tell you is the area that I basically have give you disclosure here is that there are about 3 different areas that I have tried to on the north end. That's the only people I can. That's the only way I can. In other words, the only knowledge I have is what I'm doing.
Right. I understand.
And that's all. But I don't have the intelligence of what other people are doing. Okay. But I can also, if there's a question or something like this you want me to find out for you, I'd be happy to do it.
Yes. Are the banks doing their part?
You talking about the land bank?
Huh?
You talking about land bank or the banks?
No, banks like Comerica.
I got you. Okay.
Those kind of banks.
Now
those who have repossessed properties, but they are not boarding them up. They are not maintaining them.
I got you, right.
That makes the neighborhoods look bad as well.
Right, you're right, and of course, there are certain people in the city of Detroit, like the school system and others, like banks and others, who have property. Who basically they're landlords, they are slumlords,
right?
And because they have not taken care of, boarded up, and also secured those homes. So I hear you loud and clear. Yeah. Thank you for the call as always, and thank you for the work that you're doing as well.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. 24 minutes after the hour, Jim Holley here with you on Hello Detroit. And again, in a couple of minutes, we'll take a break and bring in our spotlight for our guests this morning, and talking about community development and talking about community agreements and leadership or the lack thereof here in the city of Detroit, as we continue to talk about that, and also moving on into giving you information about Benton Harbor, what's happening there, and perhaps some ideas that you may have in regards to that, and what I've suggested to the people that's trying to pull the community together. That they make sure that you have everybody at the table, at least representatives of all segments of the table, at the table, and try to make sure that indeed that somehow, some kind of way, that you got to keep your eyes on the prize, and the prize is the young people, is the students. We're so we're so guilty of trying to basically talk about their interests, or my interests, or his interests, not talking about the interests of the children. I mean, here you got again a high school, one high school in Benton Harbor, one high school. As you got 700 students in there, you got 46 teachers. All teachers are substitute teachers. They can't afford to hire certified teachers, so you're getting a substandard education, and you can't be satisfied with that. You just cannot be satisfied with that. And of course, I said before, they got $18 million in debt, and of course, they've been in emergency management before. Is that what's going to happen again, or can they really work it out? And then, of course, also we want to make sure that we talked about how supportive would you be if we had a petition in order to ask the president to commute or at least reduce the former mayor Kwame Kempaka's sentence. As you know, he wrote a letter and to the president, and I'll give you excerpts of that letter, and what his concern is. Of course, he is now his twins, boys, are 22 years old. His oldest son is 24. His oldest son has I don't know if he's married or not, but he does have a child. And so the former mayor is a grandfather, father. And of course, and then of course, been in prison for about, can you believe it's been 8 years already? 8 years already? And of course, you got 20 more years to go. But then when you look and see what's happening in Washington, and see these guys have basically getting 4 years, or getting 8 months and stuff like this, and have done so much in terms of fraud and everything else you can think of. But anyway, I'll leave it up to you. I'm just a messenger and trying to see what your thoughts are in regards to that. Once again, we thank you so much. It is again a Saturday morning. It's 8 days into the month of June. The year's 2019. We thank God for each and every one of you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Today's energy in all large buildings are controlled through an energy management system. In this program, learning microprocessing and electronics is very valuable. These skills are a global skill. To be able to make a building function, just a phenomenal feeling. I'm faculty, and I teach HVAC, furnace, hydronics, refrigeration. There's just some phenomenal people here. Coming to this college, no one ever turned me down to help promote me in my career and promote young people in our community as well as women. I would implore anyone from the community to take advantage of this educational opportunity. It's still affordable and provides a great lifestyle. You grow a confidence, and you grow it from being educated.
You've seen him on the red carpet, you've seen him on the sidelines, you've seen him on the stage. The hottest looks in urban fashion from the biggest name in urban fashion, Van Dykes. Now pick out 3, pay for 1. 3 suits for 1. Van Dykes, 10 Mile and Southfield Road. You've seen them at the clubs, you've seen them in the boardroom, you've seen them on the pulpit. Now get them at Van Dyke's. 3 suits for 1, suits for the workplace, for the club scene, to be seen in. Pick out 3, pay for 1. Van Dyke's, 10 Mile and Southfield Road.
A little prayer for you, and I will always care for you. Hello, Detroit.
Once again, Jim Holley here with you on this Saturday morning. We thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for being with us here this morning. As I indicated to you, if you're just joining us, we have a good program for you today. I think it's going to be a very special one, so we want to make sure that you get pencil and paper and got numbers down and jobs coming up and all of that. But right now, I want to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the community. And as you know, there was an article in the Michigan Chronicle that basically talk about a divided city. And that many times it seems like a lot of people in Detroit are doing well, and with all that success, and then there's a lot of people that's not doing very well. And of course, we're here to talk about that as Reginald Amos, and we call him the Deputy Chief when he calls in. And this, I think is this the first time we met in person or not?
No, it's not the first time.
Okay,
no.
then. But anyway, it's just good to have you with me this morning, Deputy Chief, and thank you for being here. Yeah, I wanted to let people know a little bit more about you in terms of you worked in the fire department, not worked in it, but you were Deputy Chief in the fire department of Detroit, with Detroit City of Detroit.
Yes, sir. I did serve 37 and a half years.
Are you kidding me? 37?
37 and a half years. I had a wonderful career.
Mm-hmm.
It benefited my family, put 2 daughters through college, put 7 of their friends they grew up with who fathers wasn't in the home, put 7 of their friends through college.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
A lot of times when I'm trying to recruit for the Detroit Police Department as well for the fire department, but I'm always amazed at the fact is, that the training that goes in it, but also the fact is that it's just a great career. I mean, it's you can almost work and then go to school and then get ready to, if you start in at 18 and 19 years old, you can have another kind of job after 20 years, you know?
Yeah, I started at 21 years old.
Yeah, okay.
And during that career, you're absolutely right. Because of our work schedule, I was able to work other jobs part-time. I was able to start a successful business and maintain that business. And so it is a good career. And if you treat the career right, it will treat you right at the end when you retire.
Right, very good. I'm glad we didn't have that double shot there for a minute, but now that you got it, let me just ask you this: in terms of how do you move from being retired from a deputy chief, and getting into really community affairs and trying to basically to do the volunteering and trying to make things better even after you have done 37 years? How do you move into community leadership?
Well, for me, it's I was raised right. I put it like that. I've had some of the folk that helped raise me, keep me on the right track. They're still living, North End, Davidson, DeQuinda area. And as you know, it looked like a third world country.
Yeah.
And I don't like the way they're being treated.
Yeah.
And the main thing, too, is, after 37 and a half years, my pension is here.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the efforts of the Honorable Mayor Coleman Young, and it's like they're being swept under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if you look at the recruit classes for the police department, fire department, EMS, it has gone back to the 50s.
Yeah.
Predominantly white. Nobody can tell me that we do not have residents of Detroit that cannot pass, the entry
Right.
exam or the drug test.
Yeah, but I'm with you on that, and the thing about it is I've worked so hard to try to make sure that we stay above the pale when it comes down to recruiting. But the thing about it is also, Chief, is that it's not the drug test as I thought it was, as much as is stuff like agility. I mean, it's. And then we have maybe 3,000 people basically are interested in being a police officer.
Okay.
Okay. See, I'm looking in my head. I see the number.
Okay.
And then after they have an interest, then when it's time to show up, maybe only a third of the 3,000 shows up. Okay. And then say they have some problems like driver's license. Are you following me?
I got you.
And many of our young people, they have a lot of tickets and a lot of, accidents and stuff like this. And so when you look back in their background, those are the kind of things that basically, because for the most part, we're not really doing a whole lot to let our young people understand how important driving, crime and all this kind of stuff can follow you for a long, long time.
Oh yeah.
So I thought as you thought, until I started looking into it, and that it's just little stuff, like showing up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking the test. Finishing the test, and so those are the things that we got to work on.
Oh, absolutely.
But I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, early in my career, we took folk off the street, and we got them trained.
Yeah.
We mentored them. We helped them with the math and things like that.
But you and I know, 20 years, it's a big difference between.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it should be, because you and I, 20 years ago, we were different. What can I say? Different kind of people.
Yeah. The mind thing was different.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, the
I mean, we
focus
went
was
to
different.
school.
Yeah.
We finished school. We might finish with a C average, but we finished.
Yes.
you
We
know what I
finished,
mean?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. But anyway, I don't want to get digress. I'm just happy to have you here, and thank you for being here.
Hey, thank
but
you.
in terms of getting into this thing about community, your involvement in the community, basically what you indicated is that, you see how the community looks. You see it looked like in many cases a third world country, and all of that kind of stuff. So let's talk about your organization, which is basically called Detroiters United, LLC.
Yes, sir.
How did that come about?
Well, looking at the issues and conditions of Detroit, looking at the people hurting, looking at how the retirees were mistreated, thrown under the bus, if you will, looking at our future. And what is our future? Our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. If we don't get engaged and do something, our kids not going to have a future.
Right.
And so, I'm all over this country. I have homes in other states, and I let people listen to your show, different shows, different talk shows, and they can't believe what they're hearing in Detroit.
Right.
They read it, they listen to it on the radio, but when I'm in restaurants, whatever, and who is that talking? Where is that coming from?
Right.
That's Detroit.
Yeah. What's the vision and the mission of Detroiters United?
Okay. Detroiters United LLC vision is to serve as a catalyst for positive social change by leveraging the combined powers and strength of the people. The mission statement is to promote a better quality of life in Detroit, for Detroit's future by means of citizen engagement, knowledge, experience, education, research, benchmarking, legacy and wealth building.
Okay. Now, if I take all that off the page that you just said in terms of
Yep.
vision and the mission,
Yes.
take it off the page, move it from written word to the practical word, the practical part of it. How does that? What does that mean?
It means informing the people, keeping the people informed, educating the people so that they can make an educated vote.
Right.
And again, protect the interests of the people, protect our children, support Detroit Public Schools and
Right.
the teachers, because as you know, without the proper education, our children won't succeed.
Yeah. Let's if you could please, then what is a lot of times when you call in, and what we talk about more than anything else is the community agreement.
Community Benefit Agreement,
Agreement.
CBA. yeah.
Right. And so let's talk a little bit about that. And
Okay.
because you as you know, a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, it came up, and I don't know whether or not did I vote on something, or did I support it, or with an article or something. But I think you indicated to me that you were concerned and disagree with my position. So where did I get? What was my position?
Okay, your position.
Hey,
Yes.
you know, I had a stroke, you know.
Yeah, I
So
got you. I got you.
I use, when I can't remember anything, I blame
Yeah.
it on the stroke.
Yeah. Well, what happened was Council President Brenda Jones came up with a proposal, what was called Proposal A,
Right.
and that was a community benefit agreement,
Okay.
as she said it was. Okay, and it was going to be the only one in the country like it. Okay, and so I'm listening to it, and like I say, I got property outstate, out on the West Coast,
Right.
whatever, and community benefit agreements started out in California.
Okay.
All right, and so I'm listening to her description, and I'm saying, no, that's not a true community benefit agreement.
Okay.
And it turns out that what she had was really what she proposed is really a community benefit ordinance.
Okay.
And there's a major difference. A community benefit ordinance is something that is crafted by combination the mayor and the city council, and it can be changed at any time.
Okay.
As we very well see what happened with Chrysler,
Right.
what's going on with the Illages,
Right.
and things like that. Now, a true community benefit agreement is an agreement, a binding contract between a developer and the host community group. The host community group is the people.
Okay.
Now, the city can serve as a facilitator to make sure things don't get bogged
Right.
down. It runs its course
Right.
smoothly, and that it's also made up of labor, clergy, and in Detroit's case, I would say it should include the Detroit Public Schools Superintendent
Okay.
or his designee.
Okay.
Again, we have over 150 successful community benefit agreements across this country, and the developers, they welcome the CBA because in development, time is money.
Right.
And so the developer is looking at, hey, if I sit down and work with the community, the host community group, then they're going to support my effort. You won't have this pushback
Right.
like we see on the east side
Right,
now.
yeah.
The people were complaining, and the reason they were complaining is because the deal with the Chrysler deal was done and signed before the people really knew.
Right. Yeah.
And see, that's not it.
Yeah.
I mean, the host community group is supposed to know what's coming down the pipe, if you will, a year from now, 2 years from now. No one know your community better than you.
Right. Let me ask you this, because one of the things I'm always concerned about, and maybe that's my naivete, and I will admit it, but is that a lot of times, Deputy Chief, when you have people in the community coming is I see a lot of times, and maybe I want to be very careful, but when you see a lot of times, whether you go to meetings where there's this meeting or that meeting, you see so much chaos in terms of the interests of various people, and the people themselves don't see. If the people, to me, if the people themselves have an understanding of what they really want, rather than coming to the meeting and 15 different things on the menu, rather than basically all what the 15 organizations really want negotiates with the business. But right now, what I'm seeing is, unless you tell me something other, and that is that I, as a business person, I got to, in the community agreement, I got to satisfy 15 different organizations.
No, the way it's properly set up is that host community group is a combination of the folk that live in a certain radius of the development. Okay,
got that.
And ideally, the host community group is 5 to 7 people.
Okay.
Okay. Now, they sit down before they approach you as a developer.
Okay.
They sit down in their little group and say, hey, we've got, what is the priority?
Okay.
Do we need a health center? Do we need recreation centers? Do we need whatever we need?
Right.
We're not going to take 100 different things to Rev Holley.
Okay.
What we're going to do, we got a matrix, we're going to prioritize, and we're going to go in with these 5 or 7 things.
That to me makes sense.
Yes.
That to me makes sense. Now, because the way I understood it was that basically is that when you meeting with a meeting, and the company comes in and he basically said, look here, I'm not going to deal with, with 15 different.
That's right.
But you're saying to me, you guys come together first and decide what the priorities are, and then go with the business people and say this is what we want.
Yes, when the community know from the city, because every city in America have a master plan.
Right. But why wouldn't the mayor? Why wouldn't people like? Why wouldn't they want this though?
Well,
talk to me about the others. First of all, let me just let you know it's about 12 minutes to the hour. We're talking to Reginald Amos. We call him the chief when he calls in on the air and on the radio, on the television here. And what we're talking about is basically, ladies and gentlemen, is community agreement, and the difference between a community agreement and a benefit ordinance.
Yes.
And so we're talking about, and of course, he's obviously advocating for a community agreement. So give me what are the other people are saying? What is the people the opposite of you? Why wouldn't they want something like this? Because it seems like it's easier for the Chrysler or anybody to come in and knowing that indeed that we all in sync here.
Well, when you look at the situation in Detroit, you got a mayor that's a shrewd politician, been around for 50 years, whatever, and you got to give him credit. He's a shrewd politician, but he's disconnected from the people, and he don't have the interests of the people. He has the interests of corporate. Okay, and the people need to understand that. So the people need to get on the game where they recognize reality, and then they have something to neutralize it. Okay, and so in the mayor's sense, it's about power. It's about getting kickbacks, and this is reality. This is politics. This is America. The developer approach you. You're the mayor, and say, hey, Mayor Holley, I want to put a hockey arena in your city. And you tell me, well, yeah, good. Where do you want to put it? Well, I want to put it in Cass Quarter, in that area there. Okay, and then you say, well, great, glad to have you enhance the city, want to enhance the city. What's in it for me? Well,
let me ask you though, and I want, with all respect, okay,
yes,
with
yes,
all respect,
yes.
please understand it. With all respect,
I got you.
But why do I have to be accused? I'm just talking about me, as I'm the mayor now.
Right.
Why I got to be accused of getting something on, if I'm just, why can't I just want what I think is best for the city? Why do I have to, and we go after that rather than to indicate that I know what the history has been, and I know what politics is, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I know where, obviously, yeah, I work for the city for a minute, okay? And I'm just saying, you know, if somebody comes to me and says something like that, or you know, I have to, I let them know, you got to understand, I'll do this because I see it in the best for my community. It's best for this. So why can't that be? That's number one. This is not so much as a kickback as much as something he just wants to do. Secondly, if he's out of touch, as you indicated, I disagree.
Okay.
If he's out of touch, but then you got a city council who's supposed to be in touch.
And they're out of touch.
Are you following me?
I got you.
And so you got two branches of government.
Yes.
Okay, you got the executive and you got the legislative. So it was and they are also voted by district as well as by at large. So it would seem like to me there ought to be a balance. So they're not. You're telling me all 11 of them, the city council and the mayor, is basically getting something out of it?
What I'm saying to you, Reverend Holley, is this is the way it works.
But I'm saying to you is, when you say things like that, Amos, with all due respect,
I got you.
that if we don't have no way of putting things out there with proof, why don't we just deal with this from the standpoint, I guess I disagree with what you're doing, but it's not because you're doing it because you're getting the kickbacks, but you think, for example, this Little Caesar Arena. You know, I mean, we got really when you guys educated me on that, and then I went and saw Brian Gumbel's piece.
Yes.
And saw that, Reverend, I got so upset. How did that? Because I was there when they came up with that land district piece. And so you take $300 million out of the school board, out of this fund, and put it in this arena, and nobody from NAACP, National Network, or churches, or city council, anybody don't go crazy over something like that. So I'm just saying to you is, help me with this. I know I'm talking a lot, but help me with this, and I stop.
Okay. Well, see, that last piece, that was the line in the sand, if you will, for Detroiters LLC. Again, we're looking at our future. No other country and no other community in the world will put their future, again, that's their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, in harm's way. The legislation and decisions that are made by our elected officials today will have negative consequences when we're dead and gone. Will have negative consequences on our future. Again, that's our children. And it's like the council, you got one council member sitting there pushing back from all of this craziness, and that's Constanetta Lopez. Okay? Now, Brenda Jones, Mary Sheffield, and this last deal, this vote with Chrysler, yeah, they voted no, but they're playing good cop, bad cop. You just look at the history. And so when you look at the history of that hockey arena deal, Lopez asked for a community benefit agreement. The Illich people flat out said no. Well, how can you flat out say no and you asking for $300 million of our money? And then to sit there and we know that the mayor and the council is disconnected. Again, who in the world take that type of money and give it to a developer, and the developer is according to Forbes, the developer have $6 to $8 billion of their own money.
Right.
We just seen what is it, the basketball team, the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Okay, the owner, he's a billionaire, but he has less money than Marion Illich, and he's building a $1 billion stadium that's going to be opened up this year, and not one dime of it is public taxpayers' money.
Okay, right,
Okay?
right.
It's all private. So it could be done here. It's just that our people sitting on that council, they sat there, they allowed this to happen. Even the mayor said, well, hey, they should have had it in writing. He just said that
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, common sense should tell people about contracting. They have lawyers. They got, I think Mr. Whitaker is still there.
Right, yeah.
He's advising them. They're not listening. And like I say, when I see what the council was doing, this is wrong, Reverend Holley.
Right. Let's we run it because of time. Let me
Yes.
ask you this: What do you want? Why are you here? Why you say, Jim Holley, I need to come and talk to you and talk to your audience? Why are you here? What do you want?
Well, first of all, again, thank you for allowing me on your show. What I want is for the people to come out tomorrow at historic, not Little Rock, but historic King Solomon Baptist
Okay,
Church,
right.
and from 2 to 4. We've got to turn this ship around. Right now, we have, I liken our council and our mayor, that whole elected body, as a ship of fools, okay? Because, number one, the council, like this Chrysler deal, they voted on things that they didn't even know what they were voting on. Okay, even Brenda Jones told the mayor, she said, hey, every day I come to work is something different about this deal. And so that tells me either the mayor's not working with the council president or the council, or she's lying. It's one or the other.
Okay.
But for her to come out openly and say that, and then Mary Sheffield say, hey, this is a rush deal. You know, I seen in one of the articles that council was told, hey, this have to be done by such and such and such
Right.
date.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute, who's saying that?
Right.
Who's pushing that timetable? And come to find out in the articles, the mayor was meeting with Chrysler behind closed doors. Now, come on. And not only the Chrysler deal, it came out last week about the demolition deal, the legal fees that were paid, $500,000. And before you had the mayor, you had the council, you had Butch Hollowell, who was in charge of the law department, saying not one dime is coming out of the general budget.
Yeah.
Now we find
Thanks.
out money came out.
Okay.
So you got the elected officials lying to the taxpayers, citizens. And so again, this is the ship of fools that we got to turn around.
I'm running out of time, but let me.
Okay.
Probably what I'm probably going to do is, out of all fairness, is let you on the other side of the hour just sum her up.
Okay, that's fine.
I need to take a break, and we got this this computer now that will
Okay.
kick us off if we
Kick us
don't.
off,
So
okay.
let me just respect that.
Okay.
And just close up on the other side of the hour. We'll
Yes,
be
sir.
right back, my sister, brothers. It's very important just to basically let you know how you can get involved, and basically where do we go from here.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Oh,